Friends. Well, today we are going to talk about ways to overcome stress, especially during the holidays. I'm Kathy Weens, a trauma recovery and women's empowerment coach. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm also an author, a licensed professional counselor, and an educator. And on this channel, I am on a mission to help women like myself, over the age of 50 and in the second half of life, overcome whatever past traumas they may have, whether that's big T or little t traumas, and to go on to live a life of empowerment, to live their purpose, to overcome that nagging inner critic, and just to live a life of passion and purpose that they were meant to live. Okay, let's get started with today's topic. So, stress is a part of our life, no matter what season it is. But especially during the holidays, there are so many things to do, so much overwhelm, so many commitments and expectations and just busyness. And so, if we can find some ways to reduce that stress, to create more calm in our life, to have more peace in our life, that's going to be good for our mental health and our physical health. And so today I'm going to share with you 5 tips on how you can overcome stress in your life. And you can implement these right away. They're easy things that you can start today. Now these are the first 5 tips. I actually have 10. And so the next video will be part 2, and I'll share another 5 tips with you. All right, well, let's get started for today. So the first tip of how to de-stress, to overcome stress, to have more peace in our life during the holidays is to reduce our expectations. Now again, this is good for any time in our life, but especially during the holidays. There can be a lot of expectations. We have expectations on ourselves, maybe traditions that we have had, things that our parents have done or other family members, things that our kids want and our grandkids want. Those are all expectations on us. We also have societal expectations. Think about Martha Stewart's Christmas, and do we really have to live up to that? But that's a societal expectation of how the holidays need to be perfect. But we can let go of that. We can recognize what those expectations are, and then we can decide which ones we want to keep. Like if it's holiday traditions, maybe some of them we want to keep. Those are nice. Those are good things. But maybe there are some that we just need to let go of, and that's okay. We can also have expectations of people during the holidays. And so to save our relationships, to have good relationships, good connection and interaction during the holidays, think about what are some expectations you have of family members or friends during the holidays. What are those? Are they really realistic? And can you let go of them? And the reality is the only person that we can control is ourselves. And so really, how does that relate to the expectations we have of other people? Should we really have any expectations of other people? And of course, as I talked about earlier, there are the expectations that we have on ourselves. And how can we be kind and gentle with ourselves to think through those things and then maybe let go of some of the things that just don't serve us anymore, that aren't life-giving to us. And so a tip on how to do this, and I've kind of talked about this already, but it is to write down the expectations that you have, maybe the expectations first of yourself, because that's really the main one that you can control. Expectations that you might have in your relationships. What can you let go of there? And then what are those societal expectations? All of the commercials and the things we see on Facebook, how people are doing Christmas perfectly. To write some of those down, to really look at that and think about, I can let go of that. I can have Christmas and the holidays the way I want to have it. And that is good enough. A friend of mine, we have a saying, good enough is good enough. maybe you can embrace that this holiday season too. And the second tip is one I talk about a lot, and really it's the whole foundation of my channel and my coaching practice. And so that is prioritize self-care. Now again, I know I say this a lot, but we really need to incorporate that, especially during times that are busy, when things are overwhelming. Prioritizing self-care is even more important. And so what are those things that you can do for yourself? Even when things seem so overwhelming and so busy and it feels like, oh, I can't take a moment for myself, the reality is that's exactly the time when you should pause, always the pause, and take a moment for yourself. Maybe just take 15 minutes and go for a walk, or 20 minutes to 30 minutes, sit down and read a favorite book. Maybe do some meditation or yoga or whatever is life-giving to you, because that's just going to help you deal with the overwhelm even better. So prioritizing self-care is the second tip, and an action step for what to do with that is to, again, write down, and before you're terribly overwhelmed, to just sit back and write down what are the self-care things, maybe some quick and easy things that you can do, and have those kind of on call for you. Make a list, maybe put a list in your phone, put it on your fridge, wherever you're going to see it. And then when you feel busy and overwhelmed, go back and look at that list, whether it's taking a walk, eating a nutritious meal, watching a short YouTube video, whatever it is. Do those self-care, prioritize that self-care during busy times. And the third tip is to delegate things, to get other people to help you. Now, I know I said in the first tip about expectations that we can't control what other people do, and that's true. But what we can control in ourselves is to ask for help, and that's delegating things. People will respond however they're going to respond, but we can always ask for help. That's something that we can control. And to realize we don't have to do everything ourselves. And, maybe other people would actually like to help, would like to make one meal during a holiday season. For me, I have my kids and they come home, and my oldest daughter, she likes to just take over and do one of the meals, and that's great. I love that. And she chooses whatever she wants to make, and that's just a way that I have delegated, that she has offered, and it just takes some of the stress off of me. So delegating is another way to reduce stress and to create more peace and calm in the holiday season and really any time of year too. And then a tip for how we can do this is, again, make a list of the things that need to be done, and then think about, who might be able to do that, who might enjoy doing that, and then to ask them. You can only ask, you can't control what they say, but delegation is about asking for help. And you know what? That does not make you weak or less capable. It means that you're human. We are all human, and we all need help from time to time. And the fourth tip is learn to set boundaries and say no. Now, no is a complete sentence, and I did a whole video on that last week, so I'm not going to say too much about that today. But what I will say is that for us, for women, many of us have been people pleasers, and we've taken care of everyone else. So saying no to things might be really hard. But again, that is a way to help calm the stress, to not get overwhelmed, and to not feel like we have to do everything ourselves. So I'm going to put the link to that video in the description, and I would really encourage you to go back and watch that, because I talk about boundaries and saying no and the importance of it, but I also give you 19 ways that you can say no, different ways you can say no. So check out that video. And the last tip for this video of how we can reduce stress during the holidays is to break down tasks into manageable steps. So when we, don't like make a list or break things down to see what we actually have to do, it can be really overwhelming when we just look at everything at once. And then what can happen is we get paralyzed. But we have deadlines. We have things we have to do during the holidays. And so when that deadline hits, then we can get very stressed out very quickly. And so if we just, again, pause and breathe, maybe make a list of all the things that need to be done, and then break those down into smaller steps. What are things that can be done in a half an hour? What are things that maybe need an hour or two to be done? So think about that. How can you break those big tasks down into smaller steps? Maybe you give yourself an hour to wrap Christmas presents. I know that has always been hard for me, and I save it to the very last thing, and then I'm rushing to wrap things. But how can you, whatever it is for you, how can you break those things down into smaller, manageable steps? That's going to help you reduce stress and overwhelm during the holidays. And as you make that list of things that need to be done, what you might realize is there are some things on that list that you can just let go of, that you don't need to do. Or what if you, instead of making the cookies, you went and bought the cookies from the store? You can do that too. That's okay. So thinking about ways to make things easier, to make them smaller and more manageable. Okay, that's all I have for you today. And remember, next week, I'm going to have 5 more tips on how to manage stress during the holidays. And if you like this content, please like, subscribe, and share this video with someone that you think it might help. Also, you can go to my website. I have a lot of resources there. I have several free classes, and I have a couple of challenges that you can do. One challenge, I'm going to put another one up soon, but go check that out at katherinebweens.com, and I'm going to put the link to the classes in the description. And, if you would like to dig deeper into some of these issues, please reach out to me, and I'll put that link on my website for how you can get in touch with me. I would love to visit with you to talk about doing some coaching, maybe to just help empower you to deal with things in your life that maybe you haven't overcome or that you want to overcome, or just things to work on, things like boundaries and de-stressing. But also what I do with the women that I coach is to help them find their strengths and their gifts. We all have things that we can give to the world, and I know that that is true of you. I don't know you personally, but I know that you have strengths and gifts, and that's a big part of what my coaching is all about, helping you find those. Okay, well, that's all I have for today. Thanks so much for joining me. And again, if you want to find out more information, just look at the links that I have in the description. Okay, I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.